Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Inside of today's video, we're taking a look at the best counters to the 15 meta brawlers right now. So this list is really going to help you improve in your ranked overall game sense, because literally learning the meta brawlers and learning how to counter them, it's just going to help you in draft, and draft can literally win you games. You know, also can help you pick certain brawlers to counter the meta inside of ladder as well. So quickly before we go into it, we want to give a huge shout out to Jungle and Zeno, two amazing players, guys, and you should both check both of them out in the description. I'll leave their links right at the top. Check them both out, up and coming players. Really appreciate if you guys go send them some love. Say that I sent you over to them. So now let's move on to how to counter the meta event, starting off with the best brawler inside of the game, Damian. So Damian, truly it's really hard to counter a Damian, especially once he starts cycling his super in his current state, but there definitely are some good counters to him in the meta still. So starting off with Edgar. So Edgar's a great counter to Damian, because with Edgar you're just able to just deal a lot of damage once you're close to him. Yes, you might get knocked back a lot, but you can cycle through jumps pretty easily with Edgar. You've also got Let's Fly that can help you, dodge a knockback attack. Edgar's always been a big problem when I've been pushing my Damian. And next up, we've got Klette. Do I need to say anymore? You've got Broken Push It. I mean, both star power buffs are really strong. You've also got Naria gadget, which is really good into Damian. You've got Chester as well. Thinking the amount of damage that Chester can do it in half a second. Yeah, Chester's of course going to be really good into Damian. And then you've got Otus. Otus is just really good because you've got the mute, you got the hype charge super as well. So Otus can be pretty good into Damian. Next brawler we're looking to counter is Edgar. So Edgar, there are some obvious counters to him, obvious weaknesses, because he has a lack of range, but in his current state of the game and how strong he is with buffies, it's actually pretty hard to counter Edgar. So starting off, we've got a couple of obvious ones. We've got like Shelly, you got Griff with the super, because the super can literally one-shot him if you time it right, if you're literally on top of the Edgar. You've got Otus as well. That's very self-explanatory with the mute. You've got Chester. Chester's one of the best, I'd say the best counter to him in the current meta, because you've got to make sure that you have like the 3-4 bell sequence, so you can just one-shot Edgar when he lands on you. So Chester's fantastic at countering. We've also got a couple of like half decent ones as well. You got Bull, because Edgar just won't have the damage to deal with a Bull. I mean, sometimes you can win that matchup with Edgar, but most time Bull should win. And you also have Stu as well, because you might be able to, if you got good ping, you can keep your distance against Edgar with Stu. So we're looking to counter Klette. So Klette is a tank counter. So when you think of the rock paper scissors, how I will show you guys, you think of more so control brawlers or snipers that are good at countering Klette, and it's very evident here. So Crow is a great one, because again, very similar range, but Klette just won't be able to deal with Crow most of the time. You've also got Charlie. Charlie's good into Klette because very similar range. You've also got the spiders, and just Charlie can deal with Klette pretty well in the mid battle. Charlie can just deal more consistent damage. You've got Ruffs as well. You've got the sandbags just opening up the map. Again, that's similar range, but Ruffs just hits a little bit harder. You've got Griff as well. Griff is a good soft counter, because if you're using business resilience, you can actually counter Klette pretty well. But in Klette's state right now, I still wouldn't advise it too much, but it is one that I could recommend. You've also got Meeple. Meeple with the stun is really good for countering out Klette's supers as well. So again, think of like control mid-range brawlers. They're good into Klette. Next up, we're looking to counter Meeple. So inside of ranked, Meeple is a menace. Meeple's just being played everywhere and can be pretty hard to counter on the current meta, because normally there's always an anti-tank in your composition, so that kind of counter outs Meeple's lack of damage. So there's quite obvious ones. A lot of them are going to be those brawlers that can spawn like a spawnable or a pet or anything like that with a click of a button. So Ruffs is the first one. Sandbags really good into Meeple, and then you've got a super to open up the map. Meeple typically doesn't like it when the map is more open, because you can outrange Meeple a little bit easier, and he can't get range out of any value out of his super. So do bear that in mind in terms of ways to counter him. You've got Charlie with the spiders gadget. You're able to eat up a lot of Meeple's ammo, and Charlie outranges Meeple, so yes. You got Lily as well. Lily's a great counter to Meeple, because she's got a decent amount of health. She can latch onto Meeple pretty quickly. She's got Vanish gadget if she needs to escape, and she's got the hyper charge where Meeple can't stun her, so really good counter there. And then you've got other decent ones. You got Sirius, because Meeple just won't have enough like ammo, just anything to take care of Sirius's clones if Sirius stacks his clones up. And then you got Spike's gadget, which is pretty decent against Meeple. Looking to counter Mortis. So again, Mortis can seem pretty obvious to counter, but even at higher level gameplay, Mortis is really hard to stop, especially if you're a good Mortis, low ping. it can be incredibly difficult to keep on top of him because usually his better counters aren't actually that meta. Like Shelly, for example. Shelly's the best counter to Mortis, but she's just going down and down in terms of how strong she is, but she's still definitely one of the best counters. You've also got Bull. We always know that Bull's a great shutdown. Otus is one of the best shutdowns because the mute is just, it literally stops Mortis from being able to dash away, and Otus got some decent range and good damage, can really deal with Mortis pretty well. You've got Chester as well. Chester's one of the best assassin counters, so yeah, Chester's always going to be on this list. And then you've got also Crow. Crow's just good at poking Mortis, stopping him from regenerating and stopping him from getting as much healing from his bats. So yeah, quite a good counters there. So we're looking to counter Otus. So Otus is a predominant counter to a lot of different brawlers, but we need to figure out how to counter the counter. Anyways, I'm waffling too much here. Ruffs is a great counter to a lot of these tank counters out here. How many times have I said counter? But yeah, you think of tank counters, you think what are good into them, you think of like control brawlers, you think of snipers. So brawlers that can outrange Otus are good counters, but Ruffs is a great one. Again, just similar range, you're able to wall peek a bit better against the Otus. You've got Chester as well. Chester's a good counter into Otus. Sometimes you might struggle in a pure, like, really long range fight, but if you Chester, you should be able to get up close to him and just deal a lot more damage quicker than an Otus can deal damage. So yeah, a lot of people like playing Chester into Otus, funny enough. You got Poco as well. Poco is a good counter to Otus because you can remove the mute from Otus with the I forgot what gadget it's called. It's not the healing gadget, the one that removes everything. That's a great counter to it. And then Ali. I think Ali's a great counter to Otus. Most assassins are countered by Otus, but Ali can free shot Otus even with shield gear. So you're finding in a lot of situations, people will actually draft Ali into Otus. So yeah, very good counter. Lumi is next, and Lumi doesn't seem like the biggest problem for, I'd say, the casual play base. So most people watching this probably are saying that Lumi's pretty overrated, but in the pros' hands, Lumi is very, very powerful. So the best counters, it's very obvious with Lumi. She's got a big weakness with assassins, brawlers that can get up close, and she does have lack of range as well. So you either outrange her, open up the map, more long range map, she's just going to get countered by herself because she doesn't have the range, or if you get on top of her. So you've got brawlers like Mortis that can dash pretty easily and close the gap onto her. Same goes with Kenji as well. You're able just to get close to the Lumi, but I definitely prefer Mortis over that. You've also got Edgar. Again, Edgar with 2 jumps now, it just makes it incredibly difficult for Lumi to defend herself against the Edgar. And then, of course, you got brawlers like Lily. Lily, again, can just easily, if there's any danger, just press gadget. Super just on top of Lumi, nothing Lumi can do. And then you've also got brawlers that are a similar range and can like wall peek pretty well, like Naria. So yeah, pretty obvious counters here. For what we're looking to counter is Naria. So Naria is starting to go down a meta a little bit, mainly in ranked, because there are some clear weaknesses to Naria. So again, she is a sniper that, well, there is a gadget that can help knock back assassins most of the time, but that's just, I don't know, you kind of shoot yourself in your foot when you use that gadget most of the time. But anyways, you've got brawlers like Mortis. Kaze is a really underrated one because every time that Naria shoots out, well, she shoots out the shot, then she shoots out the snake, right? So you can always time it right. If you've got like really good reaction time or really good ping, you're able to dodge her shots really easily and pressure her. Naria doesn't like it when his brawlers close to her, that are pressuring her a lot because she doesn't have the quick burst damage. She's more of a poison brawler. So brawlers like Poco as well are pretty good into Naria because you can remove the poison effect from everybody. And yeah, that's just a really powerful counter. You've got Kenji as well, getting close, and then you've got Lily, and all other aggros are really good into Naria. So you've got to be careful with Naria. You've got to pair her with a tank counter, or stay away from game modes that have a lot of assassins in. So for example, you don't want to be playing Naria as a gem carrier. Chester is next, and we're looking to counter him. So again, a typical tank counter. You're thinking of ways to counter him. You want to go with like control most of the time, but the thing about Chester is that he's got faster movement speed, he's got a decent amount of health, so he can be useful into a lot of things, and that's why he's so strong in this meta. Anyways, the first counter, it's again Ruffs. You've seen Ruffs a lot in this meta. There's a reason why the pros have him as like the 10th most picked brawler in scrims right now, well, in the top 10, because he's just so good into these tank counters. You always need a tank counter in your comp. You always need like some pressure brawler, and that's why you get this rock paper scissors within the draft. So you've got other counters. You've got Meeple. Again, like Meeple is pretty consistent into Chester because again, very mid-range. Chester just won't be able to keep up with Meeple's mid-range damage. You've also got Ems. Ems is drafted quite often into Chester. We saw it in the monthly finals like a couple of months ago or even a month ago, that we've seen like a lot of M's into Chester, just because again at that kind of mid-range, M's is really good into Chester. It always just works out really nicely. And then lastly you got Charlie. So Charlie again kind of a mid-range, you could, well, not even mid-range, you can outrange Chester quite successfully. You can wall peek a bit better. Charlie's pretty good into Chester. The next brawler we're looking to counter is Crow. So he's one of the most annoying brawlers in the meta, as you guys probably know from me waffling about him for a long time, but I just tend to ban him out a lot of the time in my ranked games because he's just quite impossible to actually counter when you think about it. He can always just do everything as an assassin, control brawler, annoying brawler, I don't know. So Crow, best counters, Ruff's again being one of them because he got the sandbags. He's able to again at the medium range just be a bit more consistent in damage. You've also got Gus. So the thing about Crow, he's a really fast brawler and really hard to hit. So you want to be using brawlers that can outrange him and have a big projectile. So Gus and Byron are two good counters. You might be thinking, well, Byron, he's a healer and Crow should counter him with anti-heal. Well, no, it's just in a 1 versus 1 setting. Byron can easily tap Crow and so can Gus, so you got to think about that. You've also got Pierce as well. Pierce, again, a sharpshooter who should be able to deal with Crow quite easily. And then lastly, you got Charlie. So Charlie's always been good into Crow because of the pets, and again, very similar range. You should be able to hit Crow easily with Charlie. So now we're looking to counter Leon. So Leon again has definitely gone down the meta as the weeks have gone on. There are some obvious counters and then there's some that you might not have thought of. So the first one is Crow. Crow's the obvious counter. You can just easily scout a Leon with your main attack, Poison. The Poison reveals him in the invisibility or inside of a gadget, so very obvious there. You've got Chester. So again, Leon doesn't really want to get close to a Chester because Chester can just burst him down so quickly. You've got Charlie. So Charlie again is a great counter because you can wall peek around walls and destroy Leon's turret. You've also got Charlie's gadget that can give her a little bit of extra health if Leon pops out of invisibility. So yeah, it's a really hard kill for the Leon. You've got M's as well. So this is more on a closed map because you can use acid spray to destroy Leon's gadget. And again, it's not like a complete counter, but a lot of pros do like going M's into Leon. And then you've got Mortis. So again, Leon just can't deal with Mortis, especially with the star power buffy. You're just able to just destroy Leon with Mortis. Now moving on to Pierce. One of the best counters to Pierce is going to be Ruff's again. But this one's actually a really big counter because you've got the sandbags. Who would have guessed it? So you literally have to use 2 pieces of ammo to destroy 1 sandbag with Pierce into Ruff's. It's just crazy. So that is by far the best counter in my opinion. Again, you've got Charlie with her pets. You see quite often in my ranked games where, say, if my teammate for whatever reason has picked Pierce in gem grab, which I don't recommend going, by the way, people just draft Charlie into it. You've got 3 spiders that just eat up all of Pierce's ammo. Very good range from Charlie as well. You can just pressure Pierce so easily. You've also got Nanny on game modes like Knockout and Bounty. Nanny is a fantastic counter to the Pierce because you've got the gadget that can either tank Pierce's big shot or Pierce's super. So yeah, Nanny's a great counter. You've also got Jean because with Jean you can just chip away at Pierce and there's nothing that Pierce can really do about that, to be honest. And then you got Naria. So Naria is really annoying to Pierce because if you use one of the star powers that constantly spawn those snakes, you know, Pierce is just going to get spawn trapped by them. So now we're looking at ways to counter Sirius, one of the most annoying brawlers inside of the meta right now. The best counter by far to Sirius is Penny. So at first I was like, well, Pierce is a thrower. I mean, Sirius is a thrower. He can destroy Penny's turret easily, but then his thrower damage isn't that much. But Penny just being able to pierce through all of Sirius's clones, there's just, yeah, nothing that Sirius can really do about that. He's just going to get no value out of his clones, and he really relies off those clones for pressure. The next counter is Mortis. So Mortis is really good into Sirius. If you're a good Mortis, you can easily, you know, get a few combos and then finish him off with your gadget. That's just the best way to take down a Sirius, because once you take him down, his clones are going to get destroyed. So yeah, bear that in mind. Amber is a great counter as well. So I know that Sirius can get a good clone from Amber, but Amber can pierce through all of the clones. So a really good counter there. You've also got Lumi. Again, she can just rip through all of Sirius's clones really fast and just gets rid of all of the value. And then other throws are pretty good to Sirius, like Barley and, you know, brawlers like Willow. They're just able to outrange Sirius as a thrower. So we're moving on to Mina. So Mina is starting to creep back into the top 15 for me, and especially after playing a bunch of ranked. I know she's one of the maxed out brawlers, but players are just really playing Mina right now, and that's because it's a very like control anti-tank meta. I mean, it's actually, funny enough, pretty good into those brawlers. So starting off with her best counters absolutely all of the time. We spoke about this upon her release. Always Kenji and Mortis are two of the best counters. That is just plain and simple, like in terms of the immediate damage, like they're just able to get on top of Mina pretty easily. You know, Mina can switch over to her other gadget, is it the tornado, I forgot what it's called, where you're able to get your super back once you super, but still good Kenji and Mortis players will just easily win that matchup. You've also got Stu, so Stu's pretty good into Mina because, you know, Mina's a very annoying brawler that can create a lot of pressure, while Stu can also match her with that and also have more consistent damage at mid-range. You've also got Shade that can be pretty good into Mina. You've got Meeple with stun, which is very good into Mina because you can interrupt her third shot sequence, which again is a great counter. So to round off the video, we're looking at ways to counter Griff. So Griff is still pretty annoying in the meta, maybe not S tier like a lot of people believed, but Stu, well, no, you think of the best counters, I was going to say Stu. So Stu is a great counter to Griff because mid-range, again, like Griff just can't deal because of how slow his shot is, deal with these fast mobility brawlers, and a Stu on low ping will just absolutely destroy a Griff. You've got Ruffs as well. Ruffs is good into Griffs. Again, think of the mid-range. Ruffs just a lot easier to land the shots and does the same job as Griff in terms of opening up the map. You've got Chester as well. Again, think of that mid-range. You think the second that Chester gets to the 2, 3, 4 sequence, it's just over for Griff. He just can't deal damage more as consistent as Chester and as easy as Chester. You've also got Meeple and Mo. Again, you think of these control mid-range brawlers that are able to chip at Griff and just deal way more consistent damage, so you've got to bear that in mind. So that's going to be it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know whether this helps you out on your rank grind, and I'll continue to do these types of videos. So yeah, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.